Happy 4th of July, but no time for the intro this week. P. Diddy has escaped containment, Nintendo fans are having their consoles bricked, and YouTubers are spreading misinformation just for the sake of spreading misinformation. All that and more in this episode of Unemployment News. Make sure to subscribe to this channel and my main channel, or vice versa. Like the video to send free pogo sticks to starving African children. P. Diddy has been declared not guilty on sex trafficking charges. Thank God. It would have been pretty scary to see him go to jail for stuff we've all done. That means everyone who's watching this. Yeah, you did that shit. But if I'm being serious, can someone please tell me where the sex trafficking charges came from? No, seriously, I can't find any evidence for that online. Diddy's still being charged with transportation to engage in prostitution. I've seen a lot of people saying that he's going to use his wealth to get off scot-free, and I respectfully disagree. He'd have to hand out a lot of money to a lot of people to keep everyone quiet, and with how publicized the case is, someone would definitely yap eventually, which would land him right back in court. He's looking at about 10 to 20 years off the transportation to engage in prostitution charges alone. I don't think he's getting off scot-free, but if he gets sentenced and let out in 3 years for good behavior, then y'all can say you told me so. A Nintendo Switch 2 player has had their Nintendo Switch 2 bricked, not just IP banned, but hardware banned, fully bricked, after their sister named their profile Twink Link. Personally, I think I'd commit a hate crime if that happened to me, but it still stands that this cannot be fucking legal. And if it is, we need to change that expeditiously. Duh, I'm Nintendo. You say something we don't like, we go ban you now. The fuck? $450 and you don't even own the console. And Nintendo fanboys will say, Steam does the same thing, and so does Xbox and PlayStation. Yeah, they're not innocent, but they do that to $60 games, and they rarely, if ever, will just retract access to your account. You have to really fuck up in order for that to happen. I've seen full-on true blue Nazis allowed to keep their accounts as long as they're not spreading their propaganda, and honestly, I don't really mind as long as I don't have to see them. Yeah, bro, make your profile pic a swastika. Your father doesn't love you, but maybe your Aryan ancestors will. Never have I ever seen a Steam Deck get bricked because Valve doesn't like something you're doing with it. The one thing we thought was safe from being stolen from the consumer, physical items, is apparently now fair game for Nintendo to take. Quick update, the Reddit post on this topic has been edited, and now the OP is saying that Nintendo's representative is saying that this isn't because of the somewhat inappropriate name, but it's actually due to a false flag in their system. At first you might think, why would you include the story then, goofball? But hold your horses, because this actually makes it worse. It's one thing if a person personally disables someone's account for having an inappropriate name, or one that's perceived as such, but if a robot can false flag your Switch for a reason that has yet to even be disclosed, most likely being some sort of bug, that makes it worse. Nintendo built these consoles with bear traps that can snap shut at any second and delete your save data if even one of their systems fuck up. Ryujinx 2 cannot come out fast enough, I swear. I'm sure a lot of you guys have heard the news of a movement called Stop Killing Games. This was a movement that was sparked by Ubisoft deciding to take The Crew out back and then replace it with a shiny new Crew game that's definitely a better game, Source, trust me bro. And no, you don't get a refund, fuckwad, kill yourself. Anyways, a guy named Pirate Software, who has hereby been convicted guilty of not knowing how to read, because the only way I can really understand what he said about this movement is by him skimming over the video or document without internalizing it. Basically, the Stop Killing Games movement is a movement that aims to ensure every game, on or offline, has a contingency plan made by its developer. This could include making files free to download or making the server software open source, so anyone can set one up for free for online-only games. I highly recommend signing this stuff if you're in the EU. I kind of wish our government had a petition system like the EU does, instead of having to give your request to an old fucker who won't even read it unless it has the word America or Patriot in it. Back to Pirate Software. When he mentioned the movement, he tried to sound smart by pointing out, actually, you're not being specific enough. You need to say that you're specifically targeting single-player games. Pirate Software was under the impression that this proposition would make it necessary for every online game to have a single-player mode, which it did not. The proposition holds all games under the same umbrella. The only difference between an online and an offline game is the servers. If you have an offline game and all of a sudden you can't find it anywhere on any storefront, then it should be made available for free, the same way books and movies are put into the library. If it's an online game, game, then the means to make a custom server should be included with that. Nowhere in the proposition did it say anywhere that companies would have to make the game playable offline. It basically just says that if someone wants to, they should be able to take the raw data and run the game as it once was if they have a server. I don't see how anyone could disagree with this unless they're a bootlicker or a masochistic archaeologist from the future. Moral of the story, read, nigga, read. Update. Apparently, Pirate Software has resigned from his job at Off-Brand Games, citing harassment and review bombing. Review bombing that, as far as anyone can tell, isn't happening. If you check the Steam reviews for Rivals of Aether 2, Aethermancer, all of them still have positive reviews. One of them has like single-digit negative reviews. And of course, Ludwig had something to say about this controversy because he isn't in enough shit right now. I purposely am not talking about him because every other YouTuber under the sun has already regurgitated the same things about him, and I'm not trying to be Pegasus up in here. No hate to my man though. I was part of the original 1K subs, but he slopped a little bit too close to the sun for me during the Mr. Beast drama. Anyways, Pirate Software is schizo on top of being illiterate. Go buy Rivals of Aether to shut him up. Dan Fortness has a kid and a dog, and he's pretty chill in my opinion. Final story. Lily Tino is a trans TikTok who got big by posting his transition on TikTok. You may be wondering why I'm using he, him for Lily. I know it's disrespectful, and I'm doing it specifically to him. Nobody else, no other trans people, specifically to him, and I'll let you know why in a minute. When he started out, his account was honestly pretty wholesome. Like, even if you disagree with him politically, it's definitely heartwarming to see someone get visibly happier and more satisfied with their lives. All of that shit started circling down the toilet though when he started trend seeking. Mainly this restaurant worker misgendered me, so I'm gonna post their face and or voice and restaurant location in front of millions of people to potentially get these small businesses harassed and minimum wage paid workers possibly fired for a slip of the tongue that they made because despite getting face feminization surgery, he still looks exactly the fucking same. He needs to sue whoever did the surgery because they fucking robbed him. He also decided that it would be the greatest idea ever conceived by a human being to talk about bottom surgery by using food metaphors in a public Disney park within the vicinity of children, which even if no one was looking at him, there's a time and a place, and this was neither the time nor the place. And the straw that broke the camel's back was him going into a woman's restroom to raid it, which is something normal women definitely do all the time. People may argue, women take bathroom mirror selfies all the time, and you're right, but just because they do doesn't mean they should. Drunk driving is my favorite pastime, but the government won't let me have fun, so sometimes you gotta break a few laws. I don't care if a woman does that in their own home, but surely you can take your ducklet booty selfies somewhere else. Lily is being investigated for breaching Florida's privacy laws, which state that you're not allowed to enter the bathroom that doesn't align with your sex assigned at birth, and you're not allowed to record in public restrooms.
Is there anything happening from a state level on this topic?
Yeah, we're investigating this. We do not tolerate men or boys in women's and girls' restrooms, gyms, private spaces, no tolerance. We're investigating this one. We've already cracked down on some gyms in South Florida.
On top of that, Disney also has a rule against the latter, meaning that he could be banned from Disney on top of that. A lot of women feel like he's violated women's boundaries, and a lot of trans people feel like he's using his gender identity as a shield, which he definitely is. And to cap off this segment, the reason why I'm not using his preferred pronouns is simply because he does the equivalent to other people, mocking women when they say they're uncomfortable with him going into a restroom that's supposed to be cock and balls free, and not to mention the aforementioned harassment of staff in order to get free stuff. I'm not transphobic, nor am I here to push an agenda, but if he wants something to rage about, let's give him something. After doing a last-minute YouTube search, Lily Tino has apparently decided to take a break from the internet. Guess what? You'll never guess. If you said generic accusations of hate and transphobia, yeah, you're correct. I personally can't think of any reason why someone who constantly calls attention to themselves with rage bait and uses transgenderism as a shield would possibly get any hate online. Honestly, as long as it stays on the internet, I don't care. This is just karma. Anyways, if you're still here, please check out the main channel and drop a sub. Thanks for watching. I've been your host. Have a great day and a good night.
I was just a kid in the suburbs doing alright. Then I became a young nigga overnight. When I catch low it's gonna be on site. 4.5s and ARDs. Up in the trenches with my new family. And a gang that's built on loyalty.